Hey, and welcome guys. Today on the bench, as you see, we have another one of these small kits from Bandai. This is the Y-Wing Starfighter. So the plan is to just do a straightforward build and put it together. Let's take a quick look inside the box. Look like we have some decals now. We may actually, these are stickers. They're fairly nice actually. We may actually use some of them because these yellow stripes that go on the front of the ship are fairly complex turns when you try to mask all that off, and it's so small that I think it'd probably be easier if we try to use those. So that's kind of the plan on that. We'll assemble it, paint it up, and see how it goes. And so let's just get started with it. Alright, so here we are for our finished model. The overall length is about 4.5 inches from end to end. It goes together pretty well. I would suggest using some very thin cement on some of the places, especially on these end caps. Be careful when putting these on. They do have a very particular position that they have to be in. Each of these parts right here have a very specific end on it, and so it'll only fit on one way, and it's kind of hard to see. But yeah, I definitely would glue those on and a few other pieces just to kind of tighten it all up. The level of detail is just excellent on such a small model. It's better than most of the larger models of the same size. Really nice. So from here we're going to put on a black base coat or a primer coat, and then we'll go over with probably a kind of a white gray top coat, and then we'll do the detailing from there. So first step is just to put on that black coat. Okay, as you can see, we now have our coat of black on there. That's just a flat black coat. And now we'll go on. I'm just going to use a kind of a white gray color to do the base coat. It's kind of my go-to color for Star Wars models. It's from Vallejo. We'll airbrush that on and start getting our base coat, and then we can start detailing it more. I've also been working on this a little bit more as display stand to work on. I kind of have a kind of like a Death Star type surface on it. Obviously, it'll display our Y-Wing a little bit more permanently than this little black piece here. We got to spray paint this and detail it up a little bit, but that'll sit on there, and I think I'll just make a little bit nicer. And this is just scraps of extra scraps of styrene, and I've tried to do a lot of different layers to it, give it a bunch of different levels. So hopefully that'll turn out all right. So just something I kind of quickly threw together. Didn't spend a whole lot of time on it. Just something I wanted to have to make a little bit nicer display. So now let's just get on to painting the Y-Wing. All right, we've put on our base coat. on our Y-Wing, and that's just a white gray by Vallejo, the Mecha collection. And now I'm just going to experiment with some of these stickers and see how well they look, and if they look good enough we'll go with those, and if not we'll have to see about painting it, and then we'll do some weathering on it. So I'm going to just see how those look on it, see if that will work. I went ahead and removed the upper guns right here. You'll definitely have to take those off to get that decal on, but we'll see how it'll look. It may not work, and we may have to try painting it, but we're going to see how that goes. Alright, here we are with our finished Y-Wing from Bandai, the 144th scale Y-Wing. Overall, it's a very nice little model, very nice detail. Now, I did end up using all of these decal stickers. Just made it a lot simpler to do all that. It'd be very difficult to kind of paint all these different things in, but they actually go on pretty well. They're a little bit flexible. They do conform to some of the details, but you do lose a little bit, especially on these engine. There's some very fine lines. You do kind of lose that detail. So if you want that detail, you're going to need to paint it. But you can put them on, and it's so small, it's really not too noticeable unless you really look at it. This is what we finished up with. After we painted it, I did do some of the piping work with some of this Vallejo rust color. I did some of the piping work on the body. We did a matte varnish over all of it from Vallejo with the airbrush, just kind of lock everything in. Before we put the matte varnish in, I went in with some of these are just dry pastels. You can just grind them up on a little bit of sandpaper, and then you can take a brush or something, that makeup applicator, and I use those to kind of darken in some areas, make some rusted out areas with some of these rust colors, and did that to kind of weather it up. I also darkened some of these lines by using the kind of the darker pastels and just following the lines to bring out some of the line detail. So we didn't put any kind of wash on it. We just used our pastels to darken up on the lines, but I think it turns out really nice. It's not overpowering, but yeah, it gives us a nice detail work and a nice weathered look. We finished up our base here. Again, that was just thrown together real quick with some just scrap styrene pieces that I had, and we just painted it gray. We put a black coat, painted it gray, put a wash on it, and did a little bit of dry brushing just to kind of pick up some of these edges. Of course, I had a couple of red accents. Just something to make it a little bit nicer display for it to sit on. So that's the Y-Wing. It's actually very nice. It's a little small. It's about 4.5 inches long, but man, just looking at it, it's just a nice little kit to have. I'm very happy to have it. And anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and until next time, everybody have a good one.